G'day everyone, Simon here, Explosive Action. I'm back for a death metal CD update, and I've got a few magazines to show as well, so let's get into it. Doing it old school, doing it loose, doing it fairly unedited. There'll be some edits, but fairly unedited. And in the background, we're going to be playing the Noxious Ruin Volume 9 cassette. Love these compilations. You know, I've talked about these before. And the compilation, of course, comes with the magazine. Beefy issue number 9 here. I've been reading my way through it. Flick through a little bit here. Great aesthetics as usual. You got all the info there about the bands on the tape. We've got lots of art as usual. We've got stuff here on blood. That was a really cool article on blood. More artwork. Yeah, more interviews. Got some skateboarding stuff in here, which wasn't really to my taste, but you know. We got a whole bunch of skateboarding. Bunch of more art. Yeah, there's heaps of stuff in here. This was a good one, actually. We have the artist that did the death metal compilation cover, which has got no death metal in it. That was a cool interview. We have some Impetigo in here, and there is a big article, if I get to it in time, from Ken at Ken's Death Metal Crypt. We got Necrots in here, which is a really cool article. There we go. Cool article here from Ken, showing his young version of Ken and showing his room back in the day. Some old photos of his younger rooms. So yeah, cool stuff in the magazine. So definitely check out issue number 9 and the music on the tape. Hopefully it's coming across okay. We've got Primitive Warfare, that's the band on now. Ancient Death, Serpent Corpse. You'll be hearing about them today. Porphyrion, Doom Creeper, Vomit Spell, Scorching Tomb, Abyssal Frost, Petrification. There's a new album out now or soon. If it's out now already, then I've somehow missed it. But anyway. Plasmodulated, great name for a band. Malformed, Disengagement, Pissrot, good band. Harsh Realm, Blood Curdling, and Tenebro, the Italian, very horror-themed band, that one. So with all the logos, nice J card, good artwork. Always fun comps, always a fun magazine. So yeah, that's Volume 9 of Noxious Ruin. It's not the only magazine, though, I'm going to show you today. As well as Noxious Ruin, I have issue 5 of Devoured Death, number 5. Yeah, this is a great local zine, published out of Melbourne, I think. Yeah, very DIY. I mean, the aesthetic is, I mean, it comes shipped to you. When you order it shipped, it comes shipped to you as just like A4 sheets, like that. And, yep, fold it yourself. There you go. Editorial. Yeah, article on Vacuous, which was good fun read. Enjoyed that one. There's yeah, Belial. The Belial interview was interesting because what's his name? Jani. I think it's Jani. Yeah, Jani in Belial was also an impaled Nazarene, and it touches on when they came to Australia as impaled Nazarene and toured with Nazul, and all kinds of infamous shit went down. So that was fun to read about. But yeah, great little magazine. Interviews with bands. There's an interview with Misery, great band from Queensland. So yeah, good stuff. Got some reviews. Devoured Deathzine number 5. You can get this one at some international distributors, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, also just search for Devoured Death and you can find how to buy it locally as well. But yeah, it has been showing up at lots of international distributors. So yeah, check out Devoured Death. Check out Noxious Ruin. Always good to have reading about death metal. So here's the stack of CDs, and as I said, we're going to do it loose and rough. The first one we've got here is the new and first EP from Unholy Redeemer. This is to A Fever to Dethrone All Kings. I like the very like what is it like? Was it Abominations of Desolation? That kind of artwork? Was it the Live Arc mixes? I don't know. One of the Morbid Angel early things had very similar cover. Very cool. So yeah, international band with the new EP here, and it was sent to me by Sphere of Apparition. It was a really good label. They also put out Encabulous and Neuropath compilation CDs, which I've shown here before. So yeah, also now we've got Unholy Redeemer, really good. And like I said, it's international. You've got Jens Peterson from Seracloth. How do you say that band? They're out of Denmark. He's doing the vocals. And Jaro Raphael from Nocturnal Graves out of Melbourne. He's on drums. And Steve Hull, ex Encabulous, on guitars. So yeah, it was the Encabulous connection that really got me on this one. And yeah, you can hear his guitars. It's not quite Encabulous Mark II, but the darkness of the Dark Divinity demo from Encabulous is definitely coming through on this Unholy Redeemer. Yeah, it's only 3 tracks. It's short, 13 minutes, just a teaser, a bit of a taste what you're going to get, but you're going to get some heavy as hell kind of early, like first album incantation stuff, mixed with like the finish scene, old Demigod, old Amorphous, that kind of stuff. It's just thick and nasty and crunchy, very dark, very evil, and very, very good. But yeah, only 13 minutes. So there you go. 3 tracks in the back on Sphere of Apparition. There's the CD. The inside. So yeah, they've since added a second guitarist who is I already said Tommy Gronqvist. He's ex Sluggerthor. He's been added on bass. So yeah, we'll see if they get a full album with the slightly revised lineup. Yeah, but good stuff on Holy Redeemer. A Fever to Dethrone All Kings. Definitely check this one out. I've definitely seen it popping up at Extremely Rotten Productions. I know they've got a copy, and it's probably elsewhere as well. So yeah, Unholy Redeemer, check that one out. Next up, we have Apparition with Feel the Apparition, and this is not the Californian Apparition that released the album called Feel, just to confuse you. No, this is the Apparition out of Spain who are releasing Feel the Apparition. You're paying attention, right? Love the artwork on this one with that sort of spectre kind of yeah, it's the kind of thing you would have found on like I don't know, a King Diamond cover or something. I think it's really cool. Like that cover, like their logo too. Very, very nice. Tells you it's going to be sort of deathy metal, thrashy deathy metal perhaps. But anyway, this is made up of David and then Eduardo from Ataraxy and Blood-Soaked Necrovoid. Of course, this band is from Spain, so good stuff. And they're on vocals and drums. And a guy called Ivan from some other Spanish bands I'm not familiar with. He is on guitar. So yeah, newish band. I think this came out last year, and I was just waiting for a copy to be easily obtainable, and yep, I got one locally. Very happy with that. Far more an old school beast of death metal than you would get from Ataraxy and Blood-Soaked. Yeah, definitely arcing back, I think, we're here into the older days. You know, early Death, definitely. Early Asphyx, Pestilence, the thrashier parts, you know, that kind of stuff, that era. What you're getting with this Apparition. And it's really good. I really enjoy this one. I know Pat Ground Zero Salem has shown this and talked about it, and because it is a good album. So yeah, definitely check this one out. Apparition, Feel the Apparition out of Spain, not other Apparition with the album Feel. Just, yeah. Next up, we got a killer sophomore release from a really excellent band, one that I've been really enjoying their debut album particularly, and this is Anthropophagous with Abuse of a Corpse. So this came out in 2023, and again, it was one of those ones I was just trying to get a copy of somehow, and didn't get it in time for year-end of lists, and then I was considering, do I get the vinyl? I'm like, whatever, I just got the CD in the end. So here we are in the middle of 2024, I finally had a copy. So yeah, they did the first album with Death Fugu in 2021, which I really liked. But I think on this album, the band's definitely found more of their own sound. There's way more melodic leads, but they're still kind of angular. It's really interesting. But yeah, they've definitely, I don't want to say up the technicality. That would be incorrect, but they're just better musicians, I think. They've honed their craft, more skilled. And yeah, incredibly catchy. I think that's the main thing here, is that the catchiness factor of the riffs has gone right up. The songs themselves, just catchier, more memorable, more distinctive stuff here from on Abuse of a Corpse. Yeah, it sort of swings from like an autopsy type sort of stoomy swagger to like mid-paced gore or something like necroticism. So that mid-paced stuff there. From modern band, I'm hearing a lot of the chunky like necrot hooks. Heaps of that in here for sure. And even some sort of like just straight up melodic heavy metal riffs. It's riffs for days on this thing, absolutely. So yeah, really cool, really fresh delivery from these guys. Like referencing older bands, but they've very quickly got themselves their own sound. I would not be surprised if by the third album they're on a slightly bigger label. This is on Head Split. Would not be surprised if we got like a surprise, $20 spin kind of thing out of these guys. I could see that. I really could see that. Hopefully, we do see something like that because that would be awesome to see with these guys. Good band, bit of an unsung band. Not many people talk about them. Again, I think Pat Ground Zero Salem has shown them, but yeah, not many tend to talk about them too much. And yeah, this is their best one yet. CD. I like how they got sort of a photo there of a horrible bed where a corpse has been, and then sort of like the drawing version. That's cool. Great artwork. Yeah, Abuse of a Corpse, Anthropophagous. Abuse of a Corpse. Killer, second album, 2023, death metal, very nasty stuff. Definitely check that one out. But I wasn't the only thing I was going to pick up. And so I got that one from Hell's Headbangers with a couple of LPs, which I'll show in another update. And coincidentally, when I did the order at Sphere of Apparition, one of those things was for this Anthropophagous, which is their demo compilation of the Spoiled Marrow 7-inch and the Postnatal Abortion demo tape, which is very cool. I already had the 7-inch, but I never had the demo. And I'm a sucker for these sort of like all your early stuff on one handy CD compilation. Like I do like getting these things. And if I've got the rest of the band stuff, this is what really got me convinced that I'm just going to buy the second album on CD. Like I literally had the LP in the cart. I'm like, I've already got Def Fugu on CD. I could buy the new one on LP. Hang on, I could buy that on CD. And then this thing came out. Like now I've got everything I need from the band on one format. And that makes me more than happy than it should do, I think. Singular format for a band, it always appeals to me. But anyway, the melody is not as much here on these early works here. But this is the stuff that got me into the band. The Spoiled Marrow 7-inch is what got me into it. That came out on Blood Harvest way back. That filthy autopsy swagger is definitely still part of the mix here. But yeah, it's just a bit more stripped down. And a little bit more. I think they're showing their roots a bit more in this stuff. It's what you'd expect. It's the demo stuff, right? The title track, the band title track, Anthropophagous, is as heavy as balls. That's the thing that sold me on that 7-inch. It has a chunky bass guitar interlude at the start, and it's just a nasty song overall. So yeah, then the demo, the 2-track demo, follows after the 7-inch, and it's very much blastier and more D-beat. Very much, yeah, they hadn't quite got a sound yet. It's still good, but it is just, you compare those 2 tracks to the latest album, yeah, and they've clearly progressed. But this is really nice to have as a, all the early stuff from the band. I love that. Death metal, it's all just, yeah, get your inverted cross and the logo. Very cool. Spoiled Marrow Postnatal Abortion. It's only 19 minutes, which, for a 7-inch in a demo, it's not too bad. Yeah, it's not, I wouldn't say now, I would say don't start here. I would say start with Abuse of a Corpse because that thing is amazing. But yeah, if you like that album, go back and check out where they came from. All right, here's another one I got from Sphere of Apparition. This is the EP and demo. It's their latest EP with demo tracks added on. This is a relatively new band called Disrotter. I love the title. I love the cover. I love the logo. I'm just like, yeah, all right, let's chuck that in the cart. Disrotter. What do you get on this? This EP is Restless Death, and it comes with the Plague demo. I mean, come on, it's OSDM. Of course it is. It's exactly what you're getting. To me, it sounds like that first Bloodbath EP mixed with Bleeding Cannibal Corpse for the newer material, for the Restless Death stuff. We'll get to the demo stuff in a second, but yeah, there's some really rad bass guitar wah, like it's distorted bass, but he does the wah thing like old Cliff Burton used to do. I heard that on here. That was really nice. Bassist is the vocalist as well, Joe Adams. Guitars and drums are handled by brothers Adam and Garrett Williams. And it's a tight power trio. And yeah, the Restless Death tracks, there's 4 of those. Again, it's for a band that's done a demo and then an EP, the EP stuff is so much stronger. They've definitely got more of a game plan, I suppose, of what they're trying to do. It's very fun. It's unchallenging, just straight up OSDM. And yeah, so you get those 4 tracks, and you get 4 tracks of The Plague, which was their demo from 2020. And yeah, I mean, the demo from 2020, and then this thing, yeah, I think this is 2022 or 2023. It's probably 23. Not much time, really, but they've really improved their game. And yeah, I think the earlier stuff is more blasty, a bit more grindy. When you look them up on Metal Archives, it says death metal / grindcore. And I'm listening to the first 4 tracks going, don't hear much grindcore. Maybe you could say some death grind or whatever, but yeah, then you hit the demo tracks and there is just some more standard grindcore patterns and things in there, but played through a very thick, nasty death metal sort of scope. It's all good, but it's just very different. Well, not very. It's quite different to where they've ended up. So yeah, it's good stuff. I do prefer where they've ended up though on the Restless Death. Others may prefer the grindier stuff, but I do prefer the newer tracks. So good on them. Out on Old Shadow Records and Sewer Rot. So yeah, there you go. Disrotter, Restless Death with the Plague demos. Yeah, really, really good stuff. Check these guys out. Next up, nice reissue here. Also, I got from Sphere of Apparition. This is another one on Sewer Rot. And I'm not too sure how you say this one. It's spelled Spasme. Now, is it supposed to be Spasm with a silent E, or is it Spasme? Spasme? I don't know. Kind of sounds better if you just say Spasm. So I might just say Spasm. This is their Deep Inside album from 1999, reissued with their demo, which is Traumatisme, or just, I don't know, Traumatism, maybe, spelt funny. That's from 1995, quite a few years before the album, and that's tacked on to the end of it. So kind of difficult to get the album by itself. It's very much out of print, very much out of print. It goes for a bit of money. So yeah, when this thing came up, I thought, all right, we'll give this a go. Technical death metal out of Canada. So I say those sentences, you're already starting to picture what you're getting. 1999, start focusing on the album first. Definitely some Whisper Supremacy, Cryptopsy going into that. Gorguts, Obscura, not quite that crazy, but on the path to craziness. If they did one more album after this, it would have sounded like Obscura. But it's got those sort of New York sort of suffocation like chugs as well. Bit of a mix there, sort of this progressive technical stuff, and then just dun, like really just proving, yeah, we're still death metal, we're not just all over the place. It's got a lot of that more explorative sound of someone like Martyr, a band also out of Canada, but again, not to that level. It's quite creative and it's quite explorative, but yeah, not quite Obscura, not quite Martyr, but they're going for those sounds. But yeah, I mean, there is definitely something in the water in Canada. With all these bands at the time, bands now, I mean, the death metal bands in the 90s and 2000s out of Canada, black metal bands in the 2010s coming out of Canada, the French Canada, in Quebec. It's just nuts. These guys, yeah, something in the water. Yeah, so really good stuff. The second track on here is got the heavy bottom end, absolutely heavy bottom end with it, and sort of progressive sort of playing over the top. There's a good groove through most of the album, I found. It's easy to find your place when you're listening to it. Like, it wasn't just scattershot, just technicality for the sake of it. Still, lots of chops and changes, very tight, snappy drums, nice snare, nearly typewriter kick drums, not quite, but getting there. And yeah, then you get the demos. So the Traumatism, 1995, way more primitive, still going for that sound, but they're still a bit further back from getting there, obviously, 95. Yeah, hadn't quite got their sound yet, but you can see they were going for it. It just doesn't quite have the flourish of the 99 material. So yeah, quite forward thinking, I'd say, for this kind of stuff. But yeah, really, really good. The demo is not as good as the album, of course. The title track of the demo, though, the last track on the CD, is probably the most adventurous thing from the demo. Yeah, there's the guys looking, well, one of them shirtless, so there you go. But yeah, this is a nice little reissue with the demo on the side there, which I think might be everything they did. I'm not too sure if they followed this up or not, but either way, Good stuff if you like it a bit more technical, a little bit more Canadian. Check out Spasme, Deep Inside. Good little set here. This is Nile with Vile Nilotic Rites, 2019. I cannot believe this thing is 2019 already. That's very surprising. And even more surprising is that it is only now just getting into my collection, but we'll talk about that. This is their ninth full-length album. Man, for 9 albums, the band is big enough to get a local Australian CD pressing. So this is out on Nuclear Blast, and it actually has a made in Australia on the back of it. I can't tell you how rare that is these days. Back in the the late 90s, 2000s, yeah, you would see more like that. Not so much now, but Nile has enough to produce local copies, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, so this album, Vile Nilotic Rites, I bought this. I didn't buy it at the time. I'd kind of fallen off the Nile train. I don't know. Like for me, I got up to Annihilation of the Wicked, which was great. Ectoplasma, I thought was good, but not as good as Annihilation. And then the next ones were kind of just, I don't know. I listened to them online at the time, and they were okay. They were fine. I never bought them. I did play catch up, and I got them all in one fell swoop a couple of years ago, very cheap, and they're fine. There's some of them good tracks on there, but they're not as good as the early material, of course. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe I won't bother getting the new one. That was a silly decision. This is probably the best. This is the best thing I can say that I've heard from them since Ectoplasma, and it could be even better than album. It could be as good as Annihilation of the Wicked. This is a really bloody good Nile album. Tight, punchy, overwhelmingly fast and technical. The bands have basically been doing this style since Black Seeds of Vengeance. Even though the only person remaining from Black Seeds is Carl Sanders. And George, what's his face? George, the drummer, he didn't join until, I think, Annihilation. So they're the only two that are still on here. Then it's a bunch of newer guys. Whoever the newer guys are seems to have put some fire into the bellies of Carl and George because, yeah, this is a pretty supremely good Nile album. 7 Horns of War, that is the highlight track. It's got a like slow pounding, kind of takes me back to In Their Darkened Shrines a bit. Lots of Carl's ambient orchestral stuff is in there as well. We've got a track called Snake Pit Mating Frenzy. Barely 3 minutes, and it's just chaos. It's basically death grind. Hyperactive track. That Which Is Forbidden. That's a nice slower one. It's crushing. Then it adds sort of a spider walk riff in the middle. Very addictive one. Man, I'm just so thoroughly impressed with this. And I was surprised to be. And I only picked it up because I was looking at the Facebook groups. Someone had this for $10, and I'm like, it's about time. I'll add it. Yeah, why not? $10. We'll pick it up. Yep, it's good. It is a good Nile album. So if you kind of, I don't know, if you fell off around Annihilation, if that's where you sort of went, 4 Nile albums, that's enough. Highly recommend you check this one out. At least give it a listen online because this kind of blew me away. I was very surprised it was going to blow me away this much. So yeah. And we have a new one coming out in August. Coincidentally, I finally picked this thing up 2 months from now, we're going to get a new album called The Underworld Awaits Us All. And I don't think I'm going to get a local edition of that one anymore because they've moved to Napalm Records. Don't know why, after all these years with Nuclear Blast, but okay. They did Relapse and did Nuclear Blast. So, yeah, don't know why they've moved to Napalm, but yeah, highly doubt I'm going to get an Australasian pressing out of Napalm. So, anyway, we will see on that, but I'm looking forward to it. It's got a track on it called Chapter for Not Being Hung Upside Down on a Stake in the Underworld and Made to Eat Feces by the 4 Apes, which is amazing. So hopefully it's as good as that song title, but for now, Nile, Vile Nilotic Rites, excellent stuff. The next one's another one I did get from Sphere of Apparition, and I was very surprised to see it. Occasionally he puts in used stock, or just old stock or whatever, like just not current things. And this was here, and it was brand new, and it was sealed, and that's Mortem Decomposed by Possession, which is a bloody hard album to get. It wasn't like a $10 CD or anything like that. I did pay a little bit more than you'd normally pick up for this kind of thing, but as a rarity from the year 2000, I was happy to pay it. He had two of them, both gone. This Merciless Records, right? As I said, it was still shrink wrapped. I got to crack the seal on this. How rare is that going to be? So yeah, more than happy to pick it up. And it's Mortem. Love Mortem. Mortem is so good. They're still going strong too. I've got a couple more albums I need to get from them. But this is their third one from year 2000. If you've not heard them, they're like an ancient sounding death black metal band. This is a bit of a masterpiece, to be honest. Their early stuff all is, but this one is particularly excellent. Got the reverb vocals, got the dive bomb solos. I think most people know their first one, Demon Tales. That's quite well known for Mortem, but then yeah, otherwise they don't get talked about too much. There was a demos LP compilation called Evil Dead, came out a couple of years ago. That got a bit more people talking about them for a bit, and then not again. And maybe it's because they don't put out much. I mean, they've got 5 albums in total in 25 years. So, you know, maybe that's why. But, man, I was stoked to get this thing. This thing rules. Blackest Funeral. The tape stopped. We'll get there in a minute. Blackest Funeral. The third track on there. Absolute ripper. Probably the best track, I think. But Morgue Rapist. Great title. Definitely has some Altars of Madness in it. That old Morbid Angel. Hell and Beyond. That one's got another Spider Walk kind of riff in there, which is really cool. The whole thing is just killer. Love Mortem, and, you know, beautiful. As I said, it's brand new. I'm the only one to play this thing. Beautiful. Brand new. Yeah. More people need to listen to Mortem. And if you already know Demon Tales, start exploring further, because I think the next one's Devil Speak in Tongues. I think is the second one. Excellent. Decomposed by Possession. Excellent. And then there's a fourth and a fifth album, which I've not heard yet, but are very much on my radar. I'd like to get. They're from 2005 and 2016. 2005, 2016. That's the gap. And they've done nothing since 2016. They just take their time. So maybe that doesn't help. Not putting out an album every year. Maybe that's why people don't talk about Mortem. But they should. Because Mortem, Decomposed by Possession. Bloody excellent. Next up, we've got this cool band, Obtruncation. God, I love that title. The Callous Concept. This is a 1999 death metal band out of the Netherlands, which I'd not heard of. And they had definitely listened to some old Sinister albums, even some newer Sinister albums. I think they just listened to everything Sinister had done up until 1999 and thought, we can do that too, because I can hear so much of that on here. And why not? Sinister, a great band, and you're in the Netherlands. Okay. But I would also say they've added in a bunch of US brutal sound into it. Broken Hope kind of rings true, I think, when you're listening to this one. The Callous Concept, there's the back. Pushes into, I'd say, diabolic territory with the speed that they get to. Some real fast blasting stuff. I think it's 1999. We're going into year 2000. A lot of death metal bands were doing that, just like almost Angel Corpse kind of stuff. Definitely doing a lot of that on here. The drummer, particularly good. I would wonder what else he's done in his creative. Whatever. I wonder what else the drummer has done, because he's got some chops, that's for sure. He goes on these like jazz tangents and does all those ghost fills and things, which, yeah, for death metal, that's always quite good. That's quite progressive for death metal. But, you know, it's 50 minutes. It's quite lengthy. A lot of brutality on display. Could have probably just been 40 minutes, if I'm being true. I mean, there's 14 tracks on here. 12 tracks plus 2 live tracks. The 2 live tracks are pretty averagely recorded. Don't really need to be here. But this is the Vic Records reissue. They do nice reissues, and it's probably like everything that they could get for the band. Yeah, 12 tracks. Probably could have just been 10, if I'm being honest. It's quite a lot to listen to, but hey, look at whatever. Yeah, it's all death metal. It's all good. So, yeah, those live tracks from 1994, which are, you know, predate the album, so they were demoing for some time. Yeah, good stuff. And you can actually, if you're a first press guy, which I am, but I did find these this one and a couple others I found locally for almost nothing. You can get the original press of this on Discogs for not too much. So yeah, if you want to check them out and you don't want the bonus tracks, and you just want to have an original, you can easily do it. It's not too hard to get them, so have a look for that. But yeah, I mean, it's a good reissue from Vic Records, and yeah, good stuff from Obtruncation, the Callous Concept. Yeah, good brutal death metal. Another obscure one, and it's the kind of thing you think Vic Records would have put out, but no, this was put out by Doomed to Obscurity. This is Unearth with Concentrated Misery. Great title, Concentrated Misery. I love it. Very obscure. Yeah, so this was a demo-only band out of Albuquerque. They did 2 demos, 94, 95. Malformed Cranium, great name, and Spill the Plagues. And then they split up. So they existed for like 2 years, 94, 95. So yeah, that's it. And yeah, Doomed to Obscurity made a nice little compilation of those 2 demos. That's it. That's what you got. And called it Concentrated Misery, which I think is great when you've got so much miserable death metal and you're just going to concentrate it into one compilation. Yeah, I liked it. Just old school brutal death metal, lots of palm muting chugs, blizzard riffs, gutturals, punching double bass, all the good stuff. I heard lots of Suffocation, Human Waste EP when I was listening to this. A lot more straightforward, more to Scald early stuff as well. Mix those 2 bands together, kind of what you're getting here with Unearth. The second demo is what's up first, and it's the better of the 2. Not by much, but it is the better of the 2. Production is similar on both, but I think the ideas were just one extra year, a few more ideas. That's what you want with these bands. Like I'm saying, like your second demo should be better than your first if you're trying to improve your stuff, and they definitely were. So yeah, it's good stuff. It's I'd say this is definitely a kind of comp for fans of death metal that just cannot get enough of digging through the bins and finding obscurities, and like I'm talking to the Ben Brain Smashers of the world. It's the kind of thing you should go pick up, Ben. A couple of demos thrown onto a CD of an Albuquerquean band from 94 and 95. Right in your wheelhouse, man. So check it out. It's only 25 minutes, quite a quick listen. 2 brutal demos of Albuquerquean death metal. Good stuff, Unearth. And yeah, there you go. There's the demos reproduced there. Cover artwork. Good stuff. Definitely check out Concentrated Misery. Now we have an Aussie band. This is a new one, brand new Aussie band, and it's on Head Split, so good on them for getting an American deal. Decrepitorum, I think it's probably the best way of saying it. Foul examination of putrefied remains. And look out the back, very carcassy and very putrefied remains. They self-describe themselves as pulpy and rotten death metal from Adelaide, Australia. That's it. I could stop talking right now. Pulpy and rotten. Pulpy and rotten. It's exactly what you get. 5 tracks of pulpy and rotten death metal. It's pathological death metal, not gore grind. They've got the themes. They've got the design, the logo, the gore. Even one of the promotional flyers I saw had the Carcass Symphonies of Sickness font. Not shown here, but yeah, I mean, they know what they're going for aesthetically. Musically, though, this is sludgy and just brutal with small bursts of like blasting, just in small sporadic bursts to break it up. It's like Fetid or something, bit like Fetid, but like their demo material. I mean, this is basically demo anyway. Some D beat in there, but man, when it gets going, it's when it's the double bass, when it's the double kick and the chug riffs at the same time, that the hair tie comes out and it's just windmills, man. It is nasty and brutal stuff. Friggin' love this thing. The guitar tone is amazing. It's when the guitar is playing over the double bass, they hit that murky, weird sound that Cemetery did on An Evil Shade of Grey, almost getting to that whatever the hell sound that they got on that album. You can hear that in here. I don't know if it's by coincidence, just by luck, but I heard it when he was doing the sort of the tremolo kind of, it's like down tuned to hell, but tremolo. It sounded like Cemetery, and it made me very, very happy. The bass guitar is prominent, very punishing as well, if you like your bass guitar. The 4th track on here, Medical Malpractice. Damn, it could demolish buildings. That is a massive song. And yeah, local boys. Well, local Australian. They're out of Adelaide, which is to my west by 1,000 kilometers. But hey, local enough, right? They're in the country. yeah, good stuff. Really keen to hear a full length or whatever they have going. Or if they want to come and play some gigs in Sydney, I'd definitely like to check out Decrepitorum. Aussies, pick this up from their Bandcamp. It's only 10 Australian bucks, heaps cheap. Everyone else, go to Headsplit or Headsplit Stockists and get Decrepitorum, Foul Examinations of Putrefied Remains. The next one we have here is a bit of a stopgap EP, and this is me playing catch up with this band. I don't remember if I've shown it or not, but I did get their latest album. I think I showed it. If I didn't, just pretend that I did, because the damn thing's awesome. But this is the EP that came before it. Ectoplasma, Cryogenically Revived, from 2018. The actually, this was the EP before the album before the album, so 2 albums ago. They're actually churning out stuff, this band. They're really quite productive. So this is between the Caverns of Foul Unbeing full length 2018 and the White Eyed Trance album of 2019. There's been a newer album since then, and I've just forgotten what the title is. I'll try and remember and put it here. Hopefully I've remembered. And yeah, that thing rules, so you should pick that up. And I think I talked about it, but if I didn't, it rules, so you pick it up. But what you got on here, stopgap EP, like I said, so you get 2 new tracks, which are really good, with an intro at the start. Then you get a cover of Vader's Final Massacre, which is a good cover. 2 rehearsal versions of tracks from the 2016 EP Skeletal Lifeforms, and yeah, that's pretty much what you get on here. It's a good little EP. It's far from necessary, but the new tracks are really good, and so is that cover. So for the uninitiated, Ectoplasma plays straight up meat and potatoes death metal. No sauteed mushrooms, no lightly grilled asparagus, no friggin' red wine juice. It is just a T-bone steak with boiled potatoes on the side. That's it. No gravy, none of that. You're not getting any of that. You just some salt and pepper, and you'll be lucky and thankful. That's Ectoplasma, and sometimes it's exactly what you want. Meat, potatoes, death metal. It's wonderful stuff. I really like this band. I've often thought that if Grave were not Swedish, they would have sounded like Ectoplasma. You know, it's a little bit like that. Don't go in this thinking, oh, these guys are a Swedish HM2 band. That's not what I'm trying to say. The style of what Grave were playing towards maybe there's not the first album, but the second album, and then you'll see, like, if they just happened to be in Greece and absorbed the sounds of Greece, I reckon it might have ended up like this. That's the kind of stuff I get out of it. But you know, another obvious hint is the fact they cover Vader on here. You know, that's a very meat potatoes band. Ectoplasma, Vader. Yeah, I can see it. The intro, the act, scrutinize, and mandate. That's fun. It's an intro track of, I think it's the band members doing like Impaled Mondo Metacarl, like the sinister doctor, but it's pretty sure it's scientists talking about making this thing. Like, no, you cannot do it. You know, it's all that kind of funny, jokey stuff, and then the tracks kick in. So that was fun. I liked hearing that. It's always cool when bands don't just do samples from a movie, but they make their own samples. That's always fun, and yeah, it's good stuff. So yeah, it's just bludgeoning OSDM, man. What else do you want me to say? That's what these guys do. They don't try and do anything else. I mean, they're all wearing cool shirts and great artwork, awesome logo. Just, yeah, you know, whatever. The vocalist of the band's also in the band Vulture, Vultur, no E. Talked about them before. That's a really good band. Yeah, I think one of the guitarists is also in Vulture. So yeah, check out Vulture if you like Ectoplasma. People are involved. So yeah, the re-recorded Through Miasmal Vapors on here, which is from the first EP, I think. Can't quite remember. It might be from the first EP. Whatever it is, it's an earlier track. But that re-recording is awesome and worth the price of entry as well. So yeah, and the rehearsal tracks, there's nothing wrong with them either. Like, it's 7 solid tracks here. So it's a good little EP. As I said, it's far from essential, but if you're going to go the full mile with Ectoplasma, you may as well. Cryogenically Revived from 2019 or 2018. Yeah, 2018. Good stuff. Meat potatoes. This next band, also very meat potatoes, but with a bit of a thrashy edge to them. This is good stuff. This is Eccocide with Metamorphosis. Like I said, sort of thrashy, horror-themed death metal. Again, from the Netherlands. Good stuff out in the Netherlands, out on Memento Mori. Second album, Metamorphosis. Not heard their first one. This is just very traditional sounding death metal, like like Massacre or the second and third Pestilence albums, and obviously Death Leprosy. Loads and loads of Death Leprosy, it would be pretty fair to say. The solid stuff, lots of like D beat and double bass and raspy Chuck Schuldiner vocals, and like it's not quite a death covers band. Now, I say that because like I'm listening to this going, all these songs sound like Ecocide. I don't get that when I was listening to Gruesome. You listen to Gruesome and go, this is a death covers band. These guys have that. We have that sound and influence of death and early Pestilence and Massacre, but it's their own material, and their own material is really good. Mid-pace, focusing on the groove, and really just great riffs. And yeah, it's just solid meat and potatoes, thrashier style death metal, like your Death Leprosy. So it's your 1989. There's your death metal style that you're going in here, but fresher production. Like it's just a bit more modern sounding, and yeah, it's classically rooted, but not a clone band. I don't hear a clone band. It's not like listening to Gruesome. So yeah, good stuff. Metamorphosis from Ecocide. There's the back. Not too sure if I need to check out their first album. That was quite a few years, and the logo is different, which makes me kind of think that maybe they had a bit of a stylistic change or something. But definitely keen to hear where they might go forward from here. Ecocide, Metamorphosis. You like death metal? That early stuff? Check it out. Good stuff. Next up, also on Memento Mori. I think I got these two at the same time. This is Martyrdoom, As Torment Prevails. Polish death doom band, hence Martyrdoom. Get it? Martyrdoom. There is two O's. It's not Martyrdom, it's Martyrdoom. So this is their sophomore album, like Ecocide, but it's the first one that I've heard. Rips in with a dark, dissonant tremolo riff that just made me straight away. I'm like, oh yeah, give me more of that tremolo. It's so good. Thundering tom drums coming on off that one as well. Immense, gloomy thickness, reminding me of something like Crypts out of Finland, Crypts with a K, Desolate Shrine, that kind of nasty, just deep, modern sort of 2010s Findeath. Chuggy, powerful, plenty of blasting bits as well. Lots of swirling double bass, huge rumbling bass guitar sound as well. Just, everything's just reeks of heaviness. Really cool. I love the cover artwork too. Really good stuff there. Simple back. Back there looks like a Moon Sorrow EP or something. I don't know why I thought of that. It's the coloring in the logo, I guess. Yeah, the slower, doomier moments start getting the Asphyx sound, of course, Death Doom. But then there's a track on here called Pertinence. And I'm listening to that going, man, we're starting to get to old Amorphous now. Just, oh man, there's so much finish in this Polish band. It really is. Bit of a mix, nasty mix of sort of D-beat, up-tempo stuff, but then borderline funeral doom. It's just all over the speed map, but they tend to stick around death doom because that's what they're really good at. Snarled, pukey vocals. Actually ends with an Autopsy cover, In the Grip of Winter, so there's another influence for you. Of course, doesn't have that... I wouldn't actually think, when I'm listening to it going, oh, this is an Autopsy influence band. So certainly not, the first couple of Autopsy, maybe later Autopsy. Yeah, to that it actually kind of stands out. Being like the last track, I'm going, hang on, I know this. Oh, that's Autopsy. Oh, this feels very different to the music that's come before. Of course it does. It's quite a different sound. So yeah, good stuff from Martyrdoom. There's the CD, As Torment Prevails, out on Memento Mori. So yeah, you like it slower, but you like some blast chucked in there as well, and you like your Findeath out of Poland, check out Martyrdoom. Good stuff. And the last one I'm going to show on this fairly rough and ready kind of death metal CD update. Do you like it when I do these ones with the tape playing in the background, showing the mags and that kind of thing? I like doing it from time to time. Keep it loose. But anyway, the last one we're going to show is, this was quite popular when this came out, Serpent Corpse, Blood Sabbath. Freaking awesome cover. So good. Now, this is described on the Metal Archives as death metal punk. And that threw me, because I just heard nasty sounding old school death metal. Sluggish, very analog, huge in the room feeling, particularly the vocals, which have been reverbed 8 times. So, I'm not immediately hearing punk, at least what I understand of punk. But maybe it's because it's quite moshable. Some of this of that power trip kind of riff does come into it. Like just they find it like the single chord and a dun 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 dun, that kind of thing, and you can sort of feel like crowd energy and like, oh, they're gonna break some shit. I'm like, is that the punk we're kind of talking about? I don't know. It's just, yeah, moshable, I would have said. It's far nastier and dirtier than like street thrash. That's for sure. There's a track on here called Nemesis. That one does have like a crushing chorus with a beatdown kind of feel. So maybe more some hardcore influence infused into it. But you know, it's only like what, maybe 20% of that and 80% just old school death metal. So I don't know. Maybe someone that's really into their hardcore. Pat, again, I'm looking at you. You tell me, has this got punk in it? Because just hearing death metal, man, just moshable death metal. That's what I'm hearing. Tracks like Land of Rot and Misfortune, they reek of the sewer. Nasty tracks, dirty tremolo guitar over like the 1-2 beat drums, just like that kind of thing. Awesome. But then there's a track Swallowed Whole by the Abyss. Now that has a... This is maybe where people are getting the punk thing from, because that starts with like the tom drums, and I'm listening to that going, that's a little bit like Executioner's Tax from Power Trip again. So, is that what we're talking about here? I wouldn't have thought of calling Power Trip punk, you know. So I don't know, man. If that's punk, what do I know? I do know this is a menacingly heavy album. Definitely worth your time. Dreams of Crows. That's another track on here. That one had moments when it reminded me of the last few Dark Throne albums. I think the crust kind of sound to it, like very crusty, slow, heavy riffs. Crusty, slow, heavy riffs. There you go. That is how I'm going to describe this album. That is Serpent Corpse, Blood Sabbath. Crusty, slow, heavy riffs. We got there in the end, didn't we? Punk. I don't know. Whatever, man. It's good stuff, and I love the cover artwork too. There was an LP. It's on a label that... is it Temple of Mystery? I think maybe the LP was on the same label. If it's Temple of Mystery, who did the LP as well, they're now defunct. If they didn't do this, I can't remember who that was. It may have been Temple of Mystery. But either way, pick it up. If you find the LP, good luck to you. Because as I said, the label's gone. CD, not too hard to find. So pick it up. Blood Sabbath by Serpent Corpse. That's it. The Rough and Ready Death Metal CD update. We kind of smashed through that one. We've shown some magazines. This is how rough this is. I'm leaning over the table. There's the Devoured Death #5 zine. It's got an Unholy Redeemer advert there on the back. And we showed the Noxious Ruin #9. Yeah, these things are so big. Look at the thickness of it, right? It's just chockers. And a lot of it is just art. If you just like looking at art. Great stuff in here. So yeah, Noxious Ruin, Devoured Death, and we're listening to the Noxious Ruin demo tape, compilation tape. Good stuff. That's it. CD update. Always tends to be this way. When I do the CD updates, I just like verbal diarrhea. It just comes out. Probably because we're playing stuff in the background. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, please like, subscribe. Make sure you check out all these things. And yeah, good luck to you, sir. Yeah, cool. Check out this guy and that guy. See you next time.